Howdy everyone, I'm back with another Christmas craft idea, and I'm going to make a centerpiece using this piece of 4x4 block of wood. This is a leftover from some posts that we did outdoors, and it's just cut up kind of rough. It's not really anything perfect. You could, if you have a piece like this or even a log, some piece that will sit nice and firmly and on your table that won't move around, you can use that. Or even if you had like a 2x4, you can use that instead. But if you happen to find yourself a 4x4 and you can cut it up into pieces, then you can create a few of these. So I had this piece left over. This is about, let's see, here we go, 15, this is about 12 inches long, the piece that I have left over here. And I've got some of this pine, I guess it's a greenery, that's what I'm going to call it. This is an artificial piece of greenery. It's nothing, it's really like a swag, but I've had it a while, so it's gotten kind of bent and so forth. So I'm going to end up cutting little pieces of that to create my centerpiece. I've got these little odd things. These are from, where are they from? They're from a tree, oak tree, obviously. But what is a tree? What is this called? Acorn. Sorry. I kept wanting to say nutmeg, and that wasn't going to be right. So they're from an acorn. They're the little caps on an acorn. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, I'm going to use them as little nests. So obviously, if you can't find these, you don't have an oak tree growing in your backyard that has acorns that are this big with this big of caps, you can get some little bird nests from your craft store. And here I've got some little birds that I'm going to use. Actually, I have two of these, so I'm going to do two little nests, and I have two little birds, and I wish I had some little eggs, which I don't, but that's okay. And here I've got some green moss that I'm also going to use. I've got some ribbon, and then I've got these little styrofoam ball. What I did is I cut this in half, and I'll tell you why I did that. And then I've got these two taper candles, and I had these red ones, and they're cut at the bottom. Why? Because one of them, I had it in a taper holder and it broke, and then the bottom part was messed up and I couldn't get it in the taper holder anymore. So I decided that I am going to do something with these to have them on here. But I'm not going to drill a hole in there to stick these in. So what I did is I took a little styrofoam ball like this, and I used my little saw. Here's my little saw. And then I just cut into it, or you could use a little serrated knife and cut it in half. So now I have this to be flat on here, and then I can glue I'm going to push my candle into it a little bit more. I've already done a little bit just because I wanted to test it, but I can push it into it more, and as you can see, it stands, and I can't lift up my camera because someone is there and I don't want to be on camera. But I will put it in a different position later, and then you can see the whole thing. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue these pieces of styrofoam onto the board, and then I'm going to push the candles into them, and then drip some glue in there to make sure that the candles stay. Now, I will want to eventually somehow remove the candles and put this away, so I can just tear them off, and then next year put some new little balls if this gets messed up, or actually buy the little plastic taper holders that they sell in the craft store that you could actually glue onto here so that you can have them in a sturdier way. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to need my craft scissors so that I can cut ribbon, and I'm going to need my wire cutters to cut wire, and I have a piece of this is a chenille stem or a pipe cleaner, or you can use just floral wire, but I'm going to need this to tie up my bow. So what I'm going to do with my wire cutters, I'm going to start cutting some of this greenery. I'm going to glue the little bits onto here, and I'm going to get started, so I'll be right back. Okay, here I've got the styrofoam balls, and they are hot glued down onto the piece of wood. You can use a wood glue if you want, but since I'm using the styrofoam, I'm just using my regular hot glue gun, and then I've also poured some glue on the top here, and then I'm just going to take my taper candle right about there and then just push down into it. Now I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to break it. I need to use both of my hands, but I've already done that with this other one. As you can see, it's holding on just fine. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and I'm going to put the camera down, and I'll be back. Okay, here I've got my candles in the styrofoam, which are glued down to the wood blocks. And now I'm going to put some greenery, and I'm going to decorate this so that we don't see the styrofoam. I've got a whole bunch of these little pieces of garland from a garland piece that I had that was kind of damaged, and I just cut off what I thought were like the better pieces. So I have some long ones, and then I've got some shorter pieces. But I also want to put these two little acorn caps on there, and put one on one side, and then I'm going to put another one on the other side. So I need to glue these down first, and then I am going to put the greenery around, but I wanted these secured onto here, so I'm gluing these first. Put plenty of glue in there, as you can see right there. Put it down kind of at a little angle. That's what I want. Put some on the side here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same to the other side. And these little glue strings that you see come off, wait till they're dry and then just pull them off. Try not to worry about them too much because they can drive you nuts. And if you try to pull on them, it just keeps, it's like cheese, like melted cheese. It just keeps getting longer. So let them dry, and then you can just easily pull them off for the end. All right, some more glue on there. Another one on this side, like that. Okay, so now I want to cover this, obviously these little pieces of styrofoam. So I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to add a little bit of glue on them and start gluing them into my arrangement. I'm going to put the longer pieces kind of going off the sides. Here's a nice long one. Always get your longer pieces. I'm going to glue this onto the wood itself. So, glue it onto the wood. And then another one for the other side. Onto the wood here. I don't need it to extend out too much. That's fine. Okay, so now some more of these long pieces, and I'm just going to keep adding until I've then now covered. I'm going to put one. I'm going to do 3 coming out on each side, 3 long ones on each side on the ends, and then I'll start filling in with shorter ones. I kind of build upward till I cover the styrofoam. And be careful because you don't want to get fingers in there. You're gonna burn your fingers with a hot glue gun. I'm trying to find 2 other long ones. These are okay. Here's one. Okay. Get some glue, and I'm going to use up a lot of this hot glue. Now you see it's not covering the styrofoam yet, but I will build some coming out of here, and that'll cover that. And be careful if you want to use an old pair of scissors or a little wooden stick or something to push down on it while you're gluing it, just to make sure it's where you want it. I usually wait a little bit and then I come and then I push down on it a little bit, because sometimes the glue is a little too soft and gooey, so you can push down it, but it just kind of like bubbles up, and because it's still liquidy. So I wait a little bit till it's gotten a little bit more solid, then you can push down on it. Well, that's a pretty light there on my hand. Ha! Anyway, you can push down on it, and then and it'll stay in the position. Little trick. Okay, so here in the front, I'm going to use like real short ones, but I'm going to continue with some sort of long ones so I can build. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push them into the styrofoam, not too far in, because the candle is in there, and I don't want to push in the candle and then end up, possibly knocking it out. So I'm just going to push it in there, and as you can see, it's not way down at the bottom. It's just high enough where I know it's going to cover. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. So whatever I'm doing on one side, I'm just doing it to the other, basically. But it doesn't have to be perfectly exact. Okay, push that into the styrofoam a little bit. And keep doing that. There we go, and it's okay if it gets a little bent, gives it a little bit of a character. And as you can see, I'm sort of kind of working in threes here. Push that in. Okay, now 2 more on the other side. Yeah. Now you could do this with, if it's not Christmas, you could do with just like, you know when you buy the bushes of greenery, artificial greenery, you just cut off the individual stems, separate them so that you know which ones are the longest ones and which are the short ones. So instead of a pine, you might have an ivy or some other type of like a pothos greenery that you can use and cut those little branches off and then build an arrangement like this. You could also get the thin styrofoam sheets and cut little blocks, and you could actually glue a little block of styrofoam onto here so that you have actually something to stick it into rather than putting it on the wood itself. I could have done that. I did have some styrofoam, but you know what? I'm just gonna save a little bit of materials here, and as you can see, this works just fine because it's on there now. It's not gonna come off. It's on there. Okay, so I'm going to continue building, and I want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go like between where I stuck these two. That's where I'm sticking this one in, and I'm going to do the same over here again on the other side. Should have had some pretty Christmas music playing. Oh well, next time. I'd sing for you, but I can't sing. Haha. Okay. I'm going to bend these downward. I think they would look prettier if they're kind of bending, going downward a little bit. Okay. This side. And if you don't have any room, like I don't really have a lot of room in this little styrofoam ball on this other side because it kind of got pushed down a little bit too much. So all I'm just going to do is make sure that it glues down to the other branches that are on there. And it glues down onto them. And that'll be good enough. Can go in there just a tad and then make sure it's actually glued down into something. There we go. Now I want to cover these little bits, and then I'll turn it around and cover the other parts, and I'm going to get like little shorter bits like this, and I could always cut them to size. You know, if I don't have enough of this size, I'm going to use these little bits. One, push it into the styrofoam. There we go. I'm going to take another one, and I'm going to tuck it in there, but it's going to get glued onto the piece of wood there. Just slide it in there like so. Kind of bend it downward a little bit like that. Okay. I want to do that to the this other part. There. Another one right up here. Wait, oops, get out of the way there. I can't see because that little branch is in the way. And I'm kind of curling them a little bit, just bending them a little bit, just so that it covers the white styrofoam in there. Another one in here. I'm bend it downward a little bit, curl it or whatever. I'm going to turn it around. Webs of the hot glue. I can remove some of those now. Okay, and I'm going to decorate this side. And see, this is just with little pieces from this greenery that I had. And I'm recycling or repurposing or reusing, whatever you want, whatever word you want to use, to make another arrangement because it's so out of shape. And I tried to poof it and make it really pretty. The swag that it actually was, it was a swag shape, which is like a kind of rounded at the top, and then it went down to a point at the bottom. And you decorate it with ornaments and whatever ribbon and so forth, and hang it on the wall or make it some sort of a centerpiece with it if you wanted, but it was really bad, and every time I tried to poof it and kind of fix it, a bunch of these little leaves here were coming off. So that's a sign that this is already old and you really need to get rid of it. But I'm going to use some of the ones that are pretty good, because these aren't coming off. If I go like that, they're not coming off. So I'll try to get the best ones that I could off of the swag so that I could use for this particular craft that I'm doing. And actually I've used from a piece of garland that I had cut up, and I had used it for a different purpose of decorating, so I had pieces of garland that I had cut up. And, you know, I like to change it up every year. So, anyway, as you can see, there you go. The next thing I would do is I would turn it so that I can see from the top. And as you can see, I can see some of the white from the styrofoam. So all I'm going to do is take some of the stems and cut little shorter pieces. And then I'm going to kind of round them up a little bit like so. Round them up a little bit. They're wire, so I can bend them. Put some glue on them, and then I am going to slide it in there. See, I'm going to slide that in there, cover up that, do the same on the other side. It's just a little tiny little piece of pine greenery here that I'm using. Put it in there, push it down into there. Let's see. Yep, that did good. Now the inside part there, I can see a little bit of that white. I don't want to see that. So I'm just going to take a little bit, a couple of them like so, and just put a little bit of glue, and then I'm just going to drop them in there. Just like that. It doesn't even have to be pushed all the way in, because it's kind of cute that it's kind of sticking out a little bit over that little nest. Do the same over here, and that covers that up, and you can't see the white styrofoam in there now, but you can see these little webs, and I will take these off in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn it around and make sure that I can't see any of the white styrofoam, which is going to get hidden pretty good in a minute. Okay, that's good. And as you can see, I didn't use a lot of these. I do still have some that I can use for another project that I already cut out. Okay, so I do have these little berries here, little branches. I'm going to use those. And it's missing some little. I got these at the Dollar Tree. Well, my sister-in-law did. Actually, I'm making this for her. We got this little bush of these little berries from the Dollar Tree. So it was only $1 and it had 5 of these. And it had some leaves, but I don't really like the leaves. I just like the berries. And I've been using these for a lot of her ornaments. So I'm going to continue using these for this particular ornament. And then I'm just going to tuck them in like that. So I need to put some glue on the tip so that I can tuck it in. Get it in there. Push it into the greenery so you don't see the little stem part. Here's another one. Do it on the same thing on the other side now. Okay, look at that. Little berries in there. That's all I'm going to put. Okay, now I don't have any little eggs, and I can go get some little craft eggs from Hobby Lobby, but I'm going to excuse the ruffling or the rustling of plastic. And I'm going to take some of this moss that I have, a couple of little clumps here, and I am going to, there we go, so you can see, I'm going to drip some glue inside of there, and then I'm going to take some of this moss and just push it in there. Get it to stick as much as possible. The rest of it can just kind of dangle out. It's really cute that way anyway. Okay, and then I've got these cute little peachy colored birds that she brought in that I could use. Put some glue on the bottom right there, and then just sit him right there, right in the front. And he doesn't have any little eggs, so I have a little cluster that I cut off from one of these, and I'm going to put some of this in there, so at least he looks like, well, he built a little, or she built a little nest. It could be a he or she, doesn't matter. Built a little nest and brought some berries to feed itself. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. Right here. And put some glue inside of there. Just get it on there. And a clump of this moss. Put it in there. Okay, my glue gun is running out of glue, so I have to get a glue stick. I just spilled them everywhere. I had them in a little plastic bag or box. And I'll get this out of the way. I just spilled the glue sticks everywhere. Okay, that's okay. I'll pick them up later when I clean up. Okay, now I'm gonna put the little bird in there. Put some glue on his little bottom. Again, sit him in there like so. And cut off a little tiny stem of the berries. Come on. And it doesn't have to be the same size as the one I did on the other side. It can be a little different because we want this to look naturey. We don't want it to look man-made where everything's equal on those, perfectly equal or anything like that on both sides. Okay, here we go. It is done. Put it back a little bit. Oh, it is not done. I just realized something. Not only that, but this candle is a little crooked. Okay, he's okay now. I have some ribbon. I'm going to put a bow, or 2 little bows on it. I've got this really pretty gold ribbon. Now, she's using burlap on everything, but she's also using touches of gold, and we ran out of the burlap ribbon, so we're going to go ahead and use this one for her, or rather I am. And, oops, I'm going to make 3 looped bows, 2 3-looped bows, one for this side and one for the other side. And I'm going to make a tail about so long. That's about 4 inches. I'm going to twist, loop, and I'm going to make small loops. I'm not going to make them too big. These are about maybe 2.5 inches. So it's 5 inches of ribbon like that, and then pinched here a little bit. Make another one, pinch and twist, make a third, and that's where I'm going to pinch them. And I'm going to use a chenille stem. This is half of a chenille stem. I had some already cut, but I'm not going to use the whole thing, so I'm not going to wire this at the center. I don't want to waste chenille because sometimes they're not expensive, but sometimes it's a drag when you run out of wire like I did. And you have chenille stems, but then you run out of chenille stems because you used them all up. So look, that's all I need, is just a little tiny bit, because I'm not going to tie it. I'm going to glue this down. And of course I would poof up my bow. This is wire edged bow, meaning it has wire inside of these edges. So and I love to use that because you can shape your bow and you can shape your ribbon. I think I'm going to put it, rather than putting it way over there where I thought, I'm going to stick it right here on this side, and then I'm going to make a longer tail out of this part. So first I'm going to put some glue on this part of the chenille here, and I'm going to tuck it right in there. Push it in, try not to get my finger burned. Okay, once it's stabilized in there and the glue is dried, I will fix the bow. In the meantime, I would take the ends and cut a little thing like that. This one I wanted a little bit longer. Cut it there, fold it, and from the fold upward to the ends, and then I can just kind of like crinkle it. And just crinkle that a little bit because I like it crinkled. I like to crinkle my bows. Give them a little character. And all that, but it makes them look fuller, I think. There. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Make another bow. I'll put it on this other side. Okay, I'm going to make this other bow off camera so I can do it a little bit quicker, I hope. I should show you again, just in case you didn't catch that. Okay, bye. about 4 inches for the first little stream. I folded it. This is about 5 inches, so it's about 2.5 like that. The loop and pinch, twist, and they're the same. Pinch and twist. Make a third loop. Pinch and twist. Okay, now I need my chenille. Wrap it around. Twist my bow. Cut off as close as I can, and then I can actually use this piece for another, like a small bow. So I'm going to save that little piece. Yes, I am. It's always a headache to have to look for a piece of wire. So if it's long enough that I can use the tie around, I'll save it. Okay, let's get this here. Open up that little space for my bow. Push it in. Okay, I'm going to trim this. Okay, again. Okay. Crinkle it a little bit there. Poof up the bow. Crinkle it. Poof. Poof it. Crinkle. Oh, it's coming out because I didn't let it glue down first. Okay. Hold it down just a tiny bit. Push it down. Okay. Don't touch it and let it dry. Oops. There we go. And now it's finished. There you go. Now the whole centerpiece is finished from up here. And then I'm going to put it on my table so you can see how pretty it looks. Okay, so I wanted to put it in the center of my table so you could see how pretty it actually looked against the wood of the table, but I forgot I'm building a puzzle here, so I can't put it in the center. But as you can see, look how pretty it looks on the table. Now you'd probably want to put something under it, a pretty Christmassy cloth or a placemat, or just put something under it so that the wood block is not scratching up your table. But look how pretty. Isn't that lovely? I think it is. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please, once again, thumbs up my video if you liked it and you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think of my idea. And if you have, sorry, that was a walnut that just fell on the floor. If you have any ideas on how you would make this a little different, or what you would add instead of the little bird nest, maybe some round Christmas baubles, little ornaments, or, you know, it could be any ornaments. It doesn't have to be any round ones, but you could add some little ornaments on there, hot glue them in there. Maybe use, you know, instead of using the taper candles, you can use the little shorter, like round, fat candles. They could just be glued down onto that. It'll work just fine. You don't have to use a piece of styrofoam. And then build around them, and or just, you know, those longer round candles, those big thick ones, maybe a tall one or a short one, and kind of create something different by using different heights rather than everything being the same exact height. Now, we're probably not going to burn these candles. We're just not going to light them up, but they do look pretty. There we go. Turn it around so you can see it once again on the other side as well. Isn't that pretty? All right. There's some ideas. Let me know what you would do. And make sure you subscribe to my channel. So enjoy.